Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go.
She had not been 2 weeks from shore when down on her a right whale bore. The captain cried all hands and swore he'd take that whale in tow.
Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go.
Tonight we're going to do some grilled fish. I'm going to do a grilled halibut. It's going to have a Filipino rub on it, spice rub on it, which was a very tasty Southeast Asian style spice rub, which will have some sweet, some sour, and some lemongrass. So we'll have a lot of the flavors that are familiar with Southeast Asia. So to go with that, I'm going to do a spinach recipe. This is going to be a sesame spinach that similar to what you might find in Japan or in Korea. A lot of times as an appetizer they'll serve this dish along with the meal, but it goes very, very well, I think, on the plate with the fish. And we're also going to do some mashed potatoes to go with it, because halibut and potato to me are just such a perfect match. So we're going to start out by making the spinach. I have here a bunch of spinach. It's a little under a pound, and the first thing we got to do is put it in some boiling salted water, and we're going to wilt it, and then we're going to bring it back and shock it in the ice. So drop it right in the rolling boiling water here. And get it to just till it wilts. So only a few minutes, then we're going to go back over, drain it, put it right into some ice water that will hold the color and keep it from cooking too much. So you'll see this is wilting pretty quickly. So I strained out my spinach, got as much water out as I can into the ice water so you get that good and chilled. And then what we're going to do, once it's cold, is we're going to take out the pieces and give it a good squeeze. Try and get as much of the water out of there as possible, because we're going to put it back into a marinade so it will have liquid already. Then we're going to cut this into about 2-inch pieces. So you want to cut your spinach up into bite-sized pieces, 1 to 2 inch lengths, and go ahead and get those into a bowl. And now we need to work on the dressing. And in order to do that, the first step is we need to toast our sesame seeds. So I have on the stove over here my pan heated up to medium, and I have 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds. Let me go ahead and put those into my pan. We want to move them around and get them a little brown. You should be able to smell it. You should be able to smell the fragrance when it starts to release their flavor. We don't want to burn them. So you want to watch very carefully. You want to make sure you have a cast iron pan, or this is my very, very good copper, so I'm convinced that it holds its temperature quite nicely. I don't have to worry about having hot spots or something that might burn my sesame seeds. But go ahead and stir these around. This will take a few minutes, and then we're going to move them over to either a coffee grinder, or in my case, I'm going to use a mortar and pestle, and I'm going to mash these up a little bit to release the flavor even more. So you'll see my sesame seeds are toasted now. They've gone from that sort of white color to sort of a dark brown. And I'm going to take this and put it into my mortar and pestle. And this is a nice marble mortar and pestle. This actually comes from Filet USA, great company. Mash these up a little bit, sort of coarse, so there's sort of coarse bits left in there. Okay, now we're going to make the dressing for the sesame seeds, which consists of 2 tablespoons of shoyu, which is a Japanese soy sauce. And to that, we're going to add a teaspoon of sugar. And we're also going to add 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. And this is what shoyu looks like. It's the Japanese version of soy sauce. And we're going to go ahead and put our bottle's finished. I'm going to go ahead and finish that out. And we're going to put our sesame seeds in there and give it a good stir. over the spinach, give it a good toss, and we'll be ready to go. This can sit for a while, or even overnight. That's the nice thing about this recipe. It usually is served room temperature. It's not necessarily served hot. So you can make this ahead of time if you wanted to, and that's one less thing you have to do to pull this meal together. Also, I have peeled and chopped some potatoes, got them ready in the pot over here. We're gonna make some mashed potatoes. We're gonna time that to the fish. So once the grill gets lit, I'll go ahead and get the potatoes going. All right, here we have a beautiful piece of halibut. This is probably about 1.5 pounds. This will be a nice size serving for 2 people. I'm actually gonna use a grill basket. So I'm gonna remove the skin, but if you're not, if you're just gonna put it directly on the grill, you might want to consider leaving the skin on so that it keeps the fish together. But otherwise, first step is I'm gonna go ahead and remove this from the fish. All right, so we've went ahead and removed the skin from the fillets, got them into 2 nice pieces, and now it's time to add the spice. And so what I have here is a nice package from a company called Serious Foodie. And like me, this gentleman has created some really interesting spices and flavors, very authentic flavors. And what we're going to use today is this latest version is the Filipino Spice Rub. And what I really like about this and really impressed me about this is look at that label. You can pronounce everything on there. It's pretty amazing. So it's all very, very nice ingredients in here. So it really helps speed things up for me. So now we're gonna go ahead and spice the fish. And so the best thing to do is to get some olive oil and brush it on. That'll both keep it from sticking to the fire basket I have here, and as well will allow the nice spice mix to stick. It smells delicious. You can smell the lemongrass. I'm so excited. I go ahead and put a good amount on this on, and then rub it around a little bit with my hand, make sure that it's kind of evenly coated. And then we're gonna flip it over. We're gonna do the same thing again. Start with a little olive oil. Get some of the spice mix. And we're going to repeat with the other piece and get it ready, all locked up and ready to go on the grill. We're going to heat the grill to 350, 400 degrees, get it good and hot, and then we're going to cook this on both sides on the grill and come back to plate it. All right, so our fish is off the grill, and so now I am going to go ahead and plate this with some serving of mashed potatoes. And if you're following along with our videos, you'll see that I made the other day a compound butter with Casa M Spice Company's spices, and that's what we've used in this potatoes to give it some herby flavor. So you want to pile a little bit in the corner. Then I'm going to take my piece of fish and put it at an angle there. And we're going to finish this off with Filet Extra Special, Dinner Extra Special. We're going to add some wine to here. So this fish to me is very meaty. It's got a very interesting texture to it. Even people that don't love fish, I think, will love this. And it goes very, very well with potato. And so since we're grilling, I wanted to have something that has a little bit of oak to it. So I've chosen this Chardonnay, which is lightly oaked and has a nice flavor to it. If you prefer, you could also do something more citrus forward, maybe a good Pinot Grigio or something like that. But this is just a beautiful choice, I think, for this grilled dish.
Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go.
She had not been 2 weeks from shore when down on her a right whale bore. The captain cried all hands and swore he'd take that whale in tow.
Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go.